I was ripped from sleep at 2 a.m. by the sound every solar engineer dreads, a surge alarm blaring from my grid console like a siren in a horror flick. Stumbling out of bed blur-eyed, I gaped at the inverter screen, showing a rogue 12 coat spike 4 times my usual nighttime draw tied to my outdoor port. Furious, I yanked on a jacket, grabbed a flashlight and phone, and stormed outside. There under the moonlight sat a gleaming black Tesla Model S plugged into my private solar charger. Standing beside it, arms crossed like she ruled. The universe was Linda from the HOA. She met my glare and said, "Cool as ice, your charger's free at night, I'm just cutting costs." I stood there wondering if this was a fever dream. It wasn't. That moment flipped a switch in me, exposing the raw audacity of human entitlement. I'm an electrical systems engineer, and I built that solar grid from scratch. Every wire, battery, and panel crafted with obsessive precision. It wasn't just about power, it was about freedom, yet here was Linda, who'd already tried to find me for unsightly solar panels, siphoning my energy like she was borrowing a pen. My system had protections, but I hadn't anticipated this level of HOA nerve. I first met Linda at the HOA's annual meeting, where she snagged the treasurer role, an opposite red flag we all missed. She crowned herself Director of Community Standards and started wielding power like a sledgehammer, finding people for trivialities, mailboxes too, blue skateboards on driveways, lawns too lush. Most neighbors complied to avoid her wrath. I made the error of installing a battery unit near my fence, permitted matching my house. But to Linda it was a visual blight, begging for theft. She demanded I relocate it or face penalties. I flashed. My city-approved permits explained my off-grid setup was untouchable, and thought that she sent a violation notice in Arial font. I shredded it laughing, but this wasn't about aesthetics anymore. She'd gone from petty dictator to energy thief in my driveway. I asked if she was serious. "You can't just tap someone's private grid, Linda," I said, voice tight. She smirked. "It's outside your house, and a community resources are shared." Her logic was a gut punch. My engineered masterpiece was her public outlet. She added, "You should thank me for going green." I didn't yell or unplug her car. I went inside, pulled the logs, 78% battery drain in 5 hours, costing me money, and sell life, and check my camera's footage, showed her sneaking in multiple nights, plugging in like it was a gas station. This was no fluke, it was a heist. I confronted her at her house, offering to drop it if she stopped and paid a fraction of the theft. I handed her the data. She scoffed, "Pay for sunlight, please," and slammed the door. Days later, she filed an HOA complaint accusing me of hoarding renewable energy and claiming her board status granted access to external utilities. My blood boiled. No more playing nice. I spent nights rigging a decoy port, safe unstable surge loop, to fry her charger without harming her car. All legal. By Friday it was hidden behind a fake panel marked private grid. "Do not use." I knew she'd ignore it. Saturday at 1:50 a.m. the console pinged. Cameras caught Linda in sweatpants humming as she plugged in. Seconds later, her Tesla sparked like a firecracker, hissing as she yelled. Tumbling onto the grass, the car went dark. Her scream, "It's broken," echoed as sparks lit the night. I leaned back, grinning. The electrical war had begun. Morning brought not just retaliation, but a posy. A furious knock yanked me from my coffee. Linda stood at my door, flanked by 2 HOA members, Greg in flip-flops and Susan looking uneasy. Her Tesla loomed behind charger. "Scorched, you sabotaged my car," Linda spat. Greg mumbled about discussing last night. I handed them a folder. Timestamps, video stills, proof of her thefts. Pointing to my camera, I quoted her. "I figured I'd save a few bucks." Greg palled. Susan shifted. Linda snapped. "It was outside, no lock." She threatened an HOA sabotage complaint. I shrugged. "You tripped a decoy port. After ignoring warnings, that's on you." "Let's talk about my battery damage." She stormed off, already on her phone, demanding an incident response in HOA. Notice arrived citing hazardous equipment. I laughed, keeping it from my counter-complaint. My lawyer, a property law shark, saw the footage and logs confirming trespassing, theft, and defamation. He advised cornering Linda legally. First, I compiled everything Spike's videos, her words, and sent a cease and desist via my lawyer to her, and the HOA demanding she stop or face a lawsuit for flare. I installed a solar-powered sign, private energy zone, trespassers fried legally stealing sunlight. Linda, it glowed impossible to miss, and lit a fuse. By Sunday, neighbors bust teens across the street, leaked the Tesla Spark video online dubbed Linda's Electric Karma. It hit 3 million views, showing her plugging in, then flailing as sparks flew. My sign blazing in the background, Linda became a meme. Her HOA rain-crumbling residents thanked me. One dropped off whiskey saying, "You're our Avenger." At the HOA's emergency meeting, I presented my case logs footage. The signs warning Linda claimed the port was community access, but the board wasn't buying it. They suspended her, voided my violation, and suggested she apologize. She hissed, "This isn't over." As we passed in the lot, I smiled. It's just starting. I thought the public shaming might break her. But Linda went rogue. My solar panel's casing showed prime marks, damper-proof, but scratched footage revealed her at 3 a.m. in black, jabbing at the lock, cursing when her tools slipped. Flipping off the camera, she risked frying my grid or starting a fire. I sent the video to my lawyer and called Deputy Ortiz, who laughed, "Guts, no sense." He logged it as trespassing and vandalism, visiting her the next day. From my window, I saw her on her porch, tea in hand, yelling about harassment. She wasn't done. She called the local news. A reporter, Miles Tate, arrived with a bored cameraman pitching a neighborhood energy dispute story. I showed them my grid permits, logs, and footage, including Linda's pry attempt. Miles' jaw dropped. The cameraman muttered. She thought this was hers. The segment aired balancing her community resources spiel with the sheriff's investigation and my evidence. The anchor quipped, "The sun's free, but the grid isn't." Linda's twitchy interview was gold. The neighborhood turned, notes piled up. She fined me for my dog's bark. Thanks for stopping her memes flooded the HOA's Facebook. One captioned, "Linda's voltage of shame." The HOA voted 38-2 to oust her permanently. Her and her husband the only holdouts. Her Tesla, still broken, sported a sticker charge, "Smart." Then, during a community movie night, blackout, my house glowed while the block went dark. Linda stood shouting, "He hoards power, leaving us stranded." Eyes rolled. A neighbor snapped, "He built it. What's your excuse?" I displayed my grid status, proving the outage was municipal. Her envy was naked. The final blow came when I caught her on camera, snipping my panel's data line with shears, thinking it was power. An air horn blared, sending her sprawling into mulch. I recorded as she stammered I was trimming weeds. I pointed to the labeled cable. "That's my sensor. Try again and it's more than noise." My lawyer filed a restraining order and I pitched a solar boundaries policy to the HOA outlining private grid rules and penalties. It passed overwhelmingly, even Susan voting yes. Linda skipped the meeting, her Tesla unmoved, a gnome on its hood, holding a "Respect the Juice" sign. The restraining order landed, barring Linda from my property. The HOA reimbursed my damages, a sweet irony. A towing company sent her melted charger, which I mounted in a glass case labeled, "Steal the Sun, Get Burned." Neighbors snapped selfies. Kids called it the Spark Trophy. Linda listed her house, but buyers balked. Spooked by her legend, the city nominated me for a sustainability award at the ceremony. I said, "Respect neighbors, respect grids, and never bet against petty." The mayor laughed. My system hummed unshaken. Linda's empire was dust, her car a relic, her control fried. I didn't gloat, I built, defended, and let the current speak, standing by my gate, the shadow box glowing. I knew real power isn't stolen, it's earned, wired, and guarded with truth. And when you mess with the sun, you don't just get shocked, you get burned.